certain things are going well. And that's an important part of focus is if you're succeeding in some area of your life, some small area of your life, take some time to focus on that and learn and try and glean, well, what is it that I have done to succeed in these areas? No doubt it's that you knew the steps, you repeated the steps, you focused on the small, attainable goals daily. But as I was saying before I interrupted myself, I also have that big dark thundercloud of, will I ever become a successful entrepreneur truly? To become prosperous, to become, to have that time freedom to live life as I wish? Will I ever become a father, a provider, a good husband? I can't do a thing about any of that by sitting here and worrying about it, by sitting here and focusing on the what ifs and the what aren'ts. What I can do, though, is refresh myself on what I need to do day to day. And it goes right down to the bedrock. I can sleep well. What does that require? I've told you before, I'm not going to sit here and say it again. I can eat well. Well, what does that require? Planning, discipline, preparation. I can exercise regularly. What does that require? Planning, discipline, preparation. Knowing what parts of my body I need to exercise, knowing what I need to eat, knowing what it takes to sleep well. I've even begun to create a standard operating procedure, sort of user manual for how I create this podcast, breaking down my time into days, into hours. That is how we improve and increase our focus. And I'm sorry, I should have prefaced that by saying that is the tool that I want to offer you today. It is scheduling. It is time management. It is literally seeing your day, if necessary, on a piece of paper, hour by hour. It may be unsexy. It may, in fact, invoke more anxiety off the start because you've now cornered your anxiety and said, this is what it's going to look like for me to succeed. I need to see the path minute by minute. The bigger the problem, the smaller the solution. How about that? I should trademark that. I should probably think about it for one more minute before I do that. But we have these giant existential crises. We can't do anything by sitting there staring at them. What we can do is what we can do today. Get a good sleep, take care of yourself, and start thinking about the individual tiny little steps that we're going to take to get up to that thundercloud and shine light into it and let that blue sky come through. And I really do believe the number one tool for doing that is scheduling. And that requires its own episode, but suffice it to say, seeing your time written out, seeing that schedule, if you got to color code it, use highlighters, have fun with it, let your kids help you for goodness sake. Scheduling and breaking down your goals into bite-sized, achievable things that you can do every single day. Scheduling your time, breaking down your goals into bite-sized, achievable things that you can do every single day. I read something so interesting in a cookbook of all places, a vegetarian cookbook. Don't tell my friends. I'm not going to do it, but I was thinking about it. I'm not going to do it. Beef and eggs are my life. But in this cookbook, he said, and I guess it's been proven on a medical, scientific level, that we do as people prosper when we eat the same foods regularly and don't actually have as much variety in our diet. It's something to do with your gut flora, your gut biome gets used to the foods that you eat. And back in the old days, it was really just we ate what was in proximity to us and we evolved that way. And it got me thinking, isn't that the case for life? Yes, of course, variety is the spice of life, but you don't want to overspice your cooking either. Doing the same things day in and day out, taking the same steps, the small, achievable, measurable, attainable goals, to me, that is, if not the spice of life, that is the meat and potatoes and bread and eggs and cheese and yogurt of life. It's not that we're not challenging ourselves. It's that we are empowering ourselves to take on these challenges in ways that we can understand and complete day in and day out. It's my belief that when big, major, crushing existential crises begin to loom large over us, or even small to medium-sized existential crises looming above us, all we can do is what we can do today. The great evil that we commit to ourselves is that we believe that there's some grand thing we could do that would make it all better today. That's not often the case. And sometimes what we can do today is simply planning to make a plan. I'm not even talking about a plan with goals and a schedule. I'm talking about just writing down on a piece of paper, I need a plan. Seems like a pretty good first step. So that's the mindset shift. That's how focus plays into this. When we have focused on what we don't have or cannot be, or what we painfully desire, or what we have lost, we are now distracted. We are distracted from the path that we actually need to take to get to the place that we deserve to be. We let that be what we look at. We let that be what we think about. Our focus has now ruined us. It's a very powerful tool that we've been given, this ability to focus on things, to fixate on things, to see things, to plan for things. But the great sort of trade-off here of being able to focus intently is that we are able to focus intently on all these things that we are not. And now we're distracted from that path to a better life. Will going for a walk tomorrow morning make you a better parent this week? Will eating clean 5 days a week make you a better boss this year? Was getting off weed and pornography 3, 4, 5 years ago, has that made me a better communicator today? Yes. But it's not always obvious. But I think what's become clear to me is that being good to ourselves, building off of simple, basic, attainable building blocks, focusing on what we can do today, that becomes the launching pad to those higher, grander dreams. You know, I can't believe that I'm even sitting here saying these things. The me of 10, 15 years ago wouldn't believe it. And I tried to tell as much to some younger people the other day. You can't believe where you'll be in 10 years, 12 years. And some of these guys were talented filmmakers. I can't imagine what they'll be doing in 10, 15 years, but it's easy for them to see all these things that they're not, or their struggles or their uncertainties. That's part of it. But hey, they're filmmakers. They should be good at focusing, right? You can't focus necessarily on where you'll be in 15 years from now. You can think about it. You got to plan for it. But at a certain level, it becomes distraction. When we can focus on what's directly in front of us and stay focused on that over time, what opens up to us is the path truly to a better life, to where we want to be. And it may not be based on all these things we think we want. Surely it might be. But it is in that focus that the path begins to unfurl itself. Our true authentic self begins to become open to us and made clear to us through that focusing on the positive. So I would love to hear about how you use focus in your life. What are you focused on? What are you distracted by? And what are you going to do about that in 2024? Please leave a comment on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up on the video. Like I say, a review on Apple Podcast, Q&A on Spotify is a very cool feature. You can talk to me directly on Facebook Messenger if you like. Add me as a friend. I don't mind. Just send me a quick note to let me know you're not one of these bots that are always very attractive women with quotes and pastries. They know how to get me. I want to thank you for listening and thank you for watching. And please remember, won't you say it with me? Better is possible.